The past continuous tense is used to talk about actions that were in progress in the past. Imagine a movie scene. Picture yourself sitting in a theater, the lights dim, and the film begins to roll. The scenes unfold, and you are completely engrossed in the story. This is similar to how the past continuous tense works. It sets the scene and provides a backdrop for actions that were happening at a specific moment in the past. The action was happening when something else happened. For instance, you might be reading a book when suddenly the phone rings. The ringing of the phone interrupts your reading. In this case, was reading is in the past continuous tense, indicating that the action was ongoing when another event occurred. Similarly, imagine driving and stopping at a red light. The action of driving was in progress when the light turned red. We use the past continuous tense to describe this. Teachers often use this tense to explain events that were happening simultaneously in the past. For example, while I was explaining the lesson, the students were taking notes. This helps to show that both actions were happening at the same time. For example, I was watching a movie. This simple sentence tells us that the action of watching the movie was ongoing at a particular time in the past. It gives us a sense of continuity and duration. This means that you were in the process of watching a movie at a specific time in the past. The past continuous tense often includes a time reference to indicate when the action was happening. For example, at 8 p.m. last night I was watching a movie. This tells us exactly when the action was taking place. This tense helps us paint a picture of what was happening at a particular moment. Just like an artist uses colors and brush strokes to create a scene, the past continuous tense uses verbs to describe actions in progress. For instance, she was painting a beautiful landscape when I arrived. This gives us a vivid image of the scene. It's like taking a snapshot of an action in the past. Imagine capturing a moment in time with a camera. The past continuous tense allows us to do this with words. For example, they were dancing when the music stopped. This sentence captures the action of dancing as it was happening. This tense is very useful in storytelling. When telling a story, we often need to describe actions that were happening at the same time. For example, while the children were listening to the story, the author was writing the next chapter. This helps to create a rich and engaging narrative. It helps us create vivid images and understand the sequence of events. By using the past continuous tense, we can show how different actions and events are connected. For example, as the film was playing, the audience was reacting with laughter and applause. This not only describes the actions, but also helps us understand the flow and sequence of events. Forming the past continuous tense is quite straightforward. This tense is used to describe actions that were ongoing at a specific time in the past. It paints a picture of what was happening at a particular moment, providing context and background to other events. It involves using the past form of the verb to be was or were. The choice between was and were depends on the subject of the sentence. Was is used with singular subjects, while were is used with plural subjects, along with the present participle of the main verb plus ing. The present participle is simply the base form of the verb with an ing ending. This combination helps to convey the sense of an action that was in progress. For example, she was dancing. This sentence tells us that at a certain time in the past, the action of dancing was happening. It gives us a snapshot of an ongoing activity. In this sentence, was is the past form of to be, and dancing is the present participle of the verb dance. Here's the structure. Subject plus was were plus verbing. This structure is consistent across different subjects and verbs. Affirmative. Subject plus was were plus verbing, for example, he was playing. This form is used to state that an action was happening at a specific time in the past. For instance, he was playing football at 5 p.m. yesterday. Negative. Subject plus was were plus not plus verbing. For example, they were not sleeping. This form is used to indicate that an action was not happening at a specific time in the past. For example, they were not sleeping when the phone rang. Question was were plus subject plus verbing. For example, were you studying? This form is used to ask if an action was happening at a specific time in the past. For instance, were you studying at 8 p.m. last night? Remember that the verb to be changes according to the subject. This is crucial for forming the past continuous tense correctly. The subject-verb agreement must be maintained to ensure the sentence is grammatically correct. Use was for singular subjects, I, he, she, it. For example, I was reading, he was running, so she was cooking, and it was raining. Each of these sentences shows an action that was ongoing in the past and were for plural subjects, we, you, they. For instance, we were watching a movie. You were talking and they were playing. These sentences illustrate actions that were happening at a specific time in the past for multiple subjects. Practicing the past continuous tense can help you become more comfortable with its structure and usage. Try forming sentences about what you or others were doing at different times in the past. This will help reinforce your understanding and make it easier to use the tense correctly in conversation. Additionally, pay attention to the context in which the past continuous tense is used. It often sets the scene for another action that occurred in the past. For example, I was reading when the lights went out. Here, the past continuous action, reading, provides the background for the simple past action, lights went out. Understanding the difference between the past continuous and the simple past is important. The past continuous describes an ongoing action, while the simple past describes a completed action. Knowing when to use each tense will make your storytelling more vivid and accurate. To master the past continuous tense, practice is key. Use worksheets, engage in conversations, and write sentences to get a good grasp of this tense. With time and practice, you'll find it easier to describe past events and actions accurately. Remember, the past continuous tense is a valuable tool in your language toolkit. It helps you convey actions that were happening at specific times in the past, adding depth and detail to your communication. Keep practicing, and soon you'll be using it with confidence and ease. One of the primary uses of the past continuous tense is to describe actions that were in progress at a specific time in the past. For example, at 7 p.m. yesterday, I was having dinner. This sentence clearly indicates that the action of having dinner was in progress at the specific time mentioned. This tense helps us focus on the duration of an action in the past. It emphasizes that the action was ongoing and not a completed event. By using the past continuous, we provide a clearer picture of what was happening at that particular moment in the past. It helps the listener or reader visualize the scene. Section 4. Interrupted actions. Another important use of the past continuous tense is to describe an action that was in progress when another action interrupted it. For example, I was reading a book when the phone rang. In this sentence, the action of reading a book was in progress when the action of the phone ringing interrupted it. The interrupting action is typically described using the simple past tense. This contrast between the two tenses helps highlight the interruption. This use of the past continuous is very common in storytelling. It adds a sense of drama and suspense to the narrative. Section 5. Setting the scene. The past continuous tense is also used to set the scene or background in a story. This tense is particularly useful for painting a picture of what was happening at a specific moment in the past, providing a backdrop against which the main events of the narrative can unfold. By using the past continuous tense, writers can create a sense of anticipation and build a more immersive experience for the reader. It helps create a vivid image of what was happening before the main event took place. This technique allows the reader to visualize the environment and the circumstances that surround the characters, making the story more engaging and relatable. For example, an author might describe a bustling city street, with people hurrying by and cars honking to set the scene for a pivotal encounter between two characters. And for instance, the sun was shining and the birds were singing. This simple description immediately transports the reader to a serene and peaceful setting, creating a contrast with the events that are about to unfold. The use of the past continuous tense in this context helps to establish the mood and tone of the story, making it easier for the reader to connect with the narrative. It was a beautiful day. This phrase, though short, sets the stage for the story by providing a snapshot of the environment. The past continuous tense can also be used to describe more dynamic scenes, such as a storm brewing on the horizon or a bustling marketplace filled with vibrant colors and sounds. These descriptions not only enhance the reader's experience, but also add depth and richness to the story. Here, the past continuous tense describes the setting and atmosphere before the main events of the story unfold. This technique is especially effective in creating a sense of time and place, allowing the reader to feel as though they are part of the story. By providing detailed descriptions of the setting, the writer can evoke emotions and create a more immersive experience for the reader. By using this tense, writers can transport their readers to the time and place of the story. This is particularly important in genres such as historical fiction or fantasy, where the setting plays a crucial role in the narrative. The past continuous tense allows the writer to seamlessly blend the background with the main events, creating a cohesive and engaging story. It sets the stage for the actions and events that follow. Just as a theatre production requires a well-designed set to enhance the performance, a story benefits from a well-crafted background that supports the plot and characters. The past continuous tense is a powerful tool in the writer's arsenal, enabling them to create a vivid and dynamic world for their readers. This technique is particularly effective in novels and short stories, where vivid descriptions are crucial for engaging the reader's imagination. By setting the scene with the past continuous tense, writers can draw their readers into the story, making them feel as though they are experiencing the events firsthand. This not only enhances the reader's enjoyment, but also helps to create a lasting impression. Section 6. Simultaneous actions. The past continuous tense is also employed to describe two or more actions that were happening simultaneously in the past. For example, while I was cooking, my friend was setting the table. This sentence clearly indicates that the actions of cooking and setting the table were happening at the same time. This use of the past continuous tense is very handy when describing a busy scene or multiple activities happening concurrently. It helps the reader or listener understand the flow of events and how different actions were taking place alongside each other.